Hey there, Silver Tongue Devil here, and in this episode we're going to be having a look at Purist, because why not? This, for me, I think is probably going to be one of the hardest modes going. There's lots of tips and tricks that I can give you. However, those of you who have tuned into a Purist episode previously will know that this is as much about do what monkeys say, do not do what monkey do. So, on that note, let's have a look at it. So we're going to be starting from the start. Purist. Let's have a quick look at what Purist is. No item drops and no shops, so nothing special. No time slowing during arrow select. No overpowered bowman. After every hit is taken, we get a brief immunity and time slow. For those of you who know what Grace of God is in the game, basically every piece of damage that we take is a Grace of God. Now, on that note, there's something that I want to test quickly. Bear with, we will start the stream in a moment. I want to test something myself, because there's something that I can't remember if I ended up testing, and it will determine what amulet we take, because I can't remember. Hello, good evening. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, slow-mo pause menu there. Right, so one of the things I couldn't remember is where the Holy Armour actually triggers the Grace of God effect, and it does. And the reason why I wanted to check that is because then it opens up the debate of what amulet do we take. So, Spiritual Assist, if you are using the bow, is something I wouldn't recommend because you are taking up a slot for something that you can do already. Anakin's Flaw is an option, but it is only going to reduce his health by not enough to matter, in my humble opinion. I believe it takes about 20% off his life total. We're going to be, to play it safe, working the room the vast majority of the time. 20% is not going to matter as much as you would think. So I would have said Anakin's Flaw off the table. If I have to explain why we don't need gold, you're in the wrong stream. If I have to explain why we don't need increased capacity for special arrows, you are once again in the wrong stream. So once again, we come back to unusual fortitude or resistance privilege. Now, as far as these two are concerned, both will, when you are at maximum health, which is starting a run at maximum health, which is at 11 bars of health, and then an additional health from your armor. So you will start with 12. If we go for unusual fortitude, that will grant us an additional bar of health, which will put our total health to 13. One of those 13 is unholy armor. If we go to resistance privilege, we are still at 13 health total, but 2 of those slots are holy armor. So what would be best to take? Well, if you are the LG of the room, there is the possibility that you could get to a point without losing any health where these holy armors will count for more. So when you get to cycle 5, you start taking double damage. If you haven't taken any damage at that point, these become additionally valuable. So I would personally say, in the hope and prayer of being able to get to cycle 5 without taking more than 2 hits, we'll go with resistance privilege. Yeah, I think the extra holy armor is the way. Hello Cubic Ninja, and hello Mr. Fish. So, with that in mind, I love Purist. Let the boredom begin! So, hello Dr. Zog. So, yeah, I know, right? That would be good. I mean, technically it is. So, Oh, 2 seconds. There's something I haven't turned off, I don't think. Hang on, let me just check. Oh, no, I have done. Never mind then. Thought I heard that in the background. Nope, that's good. Okay, so we know what this is. If anyone would like to start taking bets on when I lose my first chunk of life, crack on. So the way that we want to play this is it's only cycle 1, so everything is going to be reasonably slow to react, reasonably slow to get their shots off, and reasonably slow at their distance. Now, the other thing with this mode is there is going to be a cap on it, because in normal mode, there is only so far I think you can take this game with the likes of Anakim. Anakim without special arrows will become a very tall order from, I don't know, ask LG when Anakim becomes a very tall order. Hello, Liz. So, oh, is that what you've done? That's quite a wide cast of the old net knob, but okay, I'll see you. You're probably right. It's going to happen. So, one of the things that would be the first thing to worry about as far as Purist is concerned is archers. Archers are going to be, or rather anything that fires an arrow at you, they are going to be your mainstay. We'll look at it on a per world basis, but we want to be going after monks. Those are our prime candidates. And if we can do that from an elevated position where the rest of these guys are not able to path to you, then all the better. Ugh, that was terrible. Now, because Purist, you are basically on the clock with how much life you can lose and how long this is going to take, we want to be maximising our points out of this at all times. The best way to do that is to play the marksman game, which is, as I've talked about before, long range headshots. You want to score well and be at the least threat to your own blocks of life. You want to be distant from everything. And again, we want to be concentrating on the threats, which are those guys. Knights come next, then I would say abominations. Oh, good bit of ragdoll there. Know your own limitations. If you are not confident at taking that enemy out at this sort of range with a headshot, or at least hitting them, because remember, headshots are where we score here. If you are not confident with banging these headshots in, just like this one, damn it, I'll edit that out later. You don't score any points for hitting them in the body. I think you should. That would be a very good idea. So, on the scoring note, because this is important, headshots make you points, as well as the gold that comes from the enemy, and I believe a small cycle bonus. Body shots make you nothing. Headshots score in the marksman category for every single one you do. Did I just alert something at the back there? I think I did. Now, one of the... Oh, Von, you're better than you think. So, one of the things that we're going to be doing a lot here is we are going to be doing the bait and wait, or the luring, or what have you. Now, corner luring is good, but is trumped by a proper lure. Now, the reason why corner luring is trumped by a longer distance lure is because we want to keep distance between us and our enemies, mainly for safety, but secondarily for scoring. This is why I'm always fearful of doing streams on Purist, because I don't think it's a great experience to watch. But lots of people still watch, so maybe I should get over myself as far as that's concerned. Hello, Weeb. Now, that's actually... Oh, that's a Red Knight in disguise, I think. Excellent. See, I don't bang him in first time every time. I miss all the time. So we want to be aiming for headshots. If you are doing Purist mode and you are thinking about getting a decent score, I can assume that you can hit the head reasonably regular. Therein lies the danger with this mode. It's going for headshots that is going to fluster you, because if you miss too many of them, either your enemy is going to close the distance on you or they're going to start shooting you. I know that's obvious, but it's actually quite a big part. So I suppose one of my biggest tips for Purist is knowing your own abilities. Hang on, Norb saying hello, you're already in the stream. Oh, right, okay. I see what you did there. Right. So, now, here is one that, again, apparently everybody knows about but me, but we will double down on it. So, we want to be going for long-range headshots. Now, one of the ways that we can do that with knights is by being, or with anything that is primarily a melee enemy, is being higher than them. The problem with knights, just checking that the shield is on that one. Oh, that almost made it through. The problem with knights is they have this tendency to throw axes at us. So if we can, we want to angle ourselves in a position where we are above them and can see them, but are reducing as much of our profile as possible. Note how this knight is not throwing axes at me here, but if I scooch forward a little bit further and reveal more of my player hitbox to him, he will chuck axes. This is because the knights exist in a union where they do not want to waste axes. I believe they pay for axes by the bucket load, and obviously they're trying to keep costs down. They're trying to keep costs down by making sure that their knights within the union only throw axes at players where they can see enough of a hitbox. So, if we can keep things like crenellations, wall, flooring, various bits and pieces in the way and obscure our hitbox, that knight will quite literally stand there and take it like a bitch. He's not going to throw he's not going to throw axes at us, nor, if there is a better position to him to move into where he can see more of the player box, he will do. Up here, there isn't. So, we can have our merry way with him and headshot him into oblivion. I'll be demonstrating that quite a lot throughout the night. Again, it's going to keep things quite slow-paced, but it's a very good tactic to use, because you can literally get maximum points out of an enemy without... I know, right? Bloody knights and their arrows. It's a good tactic to employ at all stages of Purist, because it allows you to maximise the headshot points and cut your risk down to, well, almost zero. The only problem that you've got is them trying to redeploy on you, which, again, I will try and show later. Again, prioritise the archers. Note how I am on a crenellation here. And it depends on how far forward you are on said crenellation as to whether the enemy can path to you. And sometimes a little bit of movement on a bit of crenellation or something along those lines will give them a path to you. So if I go here, he has a path to me. If I walk off of the further to the edge, it's almost like I'm off the game board. And because I'm off the game board, he can't find a way to me, which means that he also has to stand there. Damn it, it was supposed to be a headshot. And take it like a bitch. So we'll again be putting that into practice a lot as well. Putting yourself under pressure with these kind of headshots is the quickest way to lose life. If we're up on crenellations, up on things, up on bits of geometry or anything along those lines, or even, again, off the game board on these snowy little pastures with enemies that cannot throw anything at us, They can't shoot axes at us or throw arrows. There you go, Norb. Got it right this time. If the enemies are incapable of doing either of those things, then up on these crenellations, up on the roofs, or on the snow, or on anything is a very good bet. Now, the other thing to note is this thing that I'm talking about with reducing the player hitbox does not work with archers. They will go for some funky shots. And if they are alerted and you think you've got them into a position where they're not going to shoot at you, well, they can always teleport. That's a lot of fun. That is quite a gaggle. So, reduce my hitbox so that hopefully these guys won't throw at me, but still allow me to put shots on. There is one enemy that is a threat here in that case, which was that guy. And note now how, because, so if you imagine, the way that I've talked about it before is if you imagine there is like a flat sheet in front of you, and it starts from about your forehead and goes down to, I'd say, your midriff, sort of like your belly button area. And that sheet is the player hitbox. That's how you can be hit. And it comes out about as far as you've vision, maybe a little bit, probably about there, probably a little bit closer. And that sheet, if something passes through it, registers a hit on the player. These enemies will not start throwing axes at you unless they can see a certain percentage of this imaginary sheet. I can't move forward to demonstrate, but I can. They might start from here. Yeah, there we go. You've also got another thing with enemies that are... Oh, let's not get hit by those. That would be embarrassing. We've also got another thing with these sort of enemies as well, is if you are far enough away, they can't throw axes. This is what you need to watch out for. Them making moves to try and get into a position to shoot you whilst you are hiding large percentages of your hitbox from them. They will do it. Look at this guy moving back. Now, that's fine. I want him to move away. And I want a position so that he's not going to throw axes. And I can put the headshot in. And I can put the headshot in when I'm ready. I believe that black knight is down here. Let's have a look where that black one is. It is a good move normally. Now, let's see if we can lure him a little bit further, because we're unable to get the drop on that guy for the headshot. So we're going to need him to come and play a little bit better. Usually, firing arrows in and around will get them moving. Now, he may be too far away to throw an axe. He might be just on the cusp of the range we need him to be. No, he's happy to throw an axe. So let's move away. Let that axe go way past us. On a note of dodging axes, because we haven't got slow time, I always would move into the curve. So the axe was coming around at me that way. I always move into it, because you then know that the axe is always moving away from you. If you move into the curve, you can get that horrible moment where you don't know if you've moved enough or haven't moved or have moved too much, and the axe seems to be coming straight at you. That's when you get hit by axes. So my advice would be always move into the curve. Now let's see how our Black Knight's doing. There he is. Look, he's lost interest. One headshot. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, stop moving, would you? Someone have a word with their union. This one's had way too much caffeine. But no, if I was having axes chucked at me here. This is getting a bit embarrassing. And I didn't get the headshot. But can you imagine, like, this is another good way to practice your distance headshots on enemies that have a slightly larger head than usual. Start with knights. That big old bucket for a head is an easier target to hit than probably even monks' hoods, and definitely abominations' little heads that are jaunted off to one side. Starting on knights and putting them into a safe position is a great way to practice long-range headshots. Now, what are we considering a long-range headshot? Damn it. Now, one of the other things we have here, These are not considered long-range headshots, but if you are scoring in the 980 to 990, you are then starting to get on the... That's the maximum amount of damage through distance with a vanilla arrow that you can actually do to an enemy. Someone has asked me, and again, I will say it out loud for everybody, is the red numbers are nothing to do with score. They are all to do with damage. If this guy has minus 992, which might be a bit close for, that is nothing to do with points. That is just damage. There used to be never a negative number. It used to be just number. I think they added the negative to stop confusing people that it's actually points. The only true way that you can check the amount of points that you are getting for a headshot is take note of your score. Make the headshot, and then check your score. And then you would minus off the gold from that, because the gold you are going to get anyway, and you would also minus what you would estimate the headshot gold as being as well, which is usually between about 14 and 15. What's left is your marksman bonus, and there's a little bit in there as a cycle bonus as well. And this guy will move. Damn it. Hello, Mr. Vega. There we go. It's another thing to note as well on these cycles. If you body shot something like a knight, you can afford to do that once. If I headshot a knight and kill him in one headshot, that will yield me as many points as a body shot followed by a headshot, because body shots do not score. Hello, Christine. I'm happy with that. I will try and keep you productive. So let's see who we can lure here. Now, this isn't a bad situation because people will move out into here. You need to be ready to deal with them. So one of the biggest lessons that I can potentially show you on this is knowing when to pack up the gear and run away. All the top players do it. LG runs away just like everybody else does. And the reason being is because life is the valuable commodity. And there are plenty of times... Oh, right in the back of the noggin. That was like LG's Cupid shot earlier. There are plenty of times when you will do something and it will trigger a cascade of events that you cannot predict. And that's one of the things that's truly great about this game. And when that cascade of events happen, there are two schools of thought. There's my school of thought, which is dive in and kill, but that'll lose you life. Then there is the other well, it's not my school of thought, but then there is the other school of thought, which is just run, because you know, worst case scenario, that you'll outrun some of them, you'll thin the numbers. I'm not going to demonstrate this tactic, not on purpose, because I'm pretty sure it will happen by accident. Pits is a good place to demonstrate what I'm talking about, but it's definitely something that will happen. And that will bring us nicely when we get onto the pits of the next thing that we need to look at as well, which is orphans. Oh, there's plenty of running in Purist. When you haven't got the ability to slow time, then running becomes your go-to ability. Planning the attack on difficult situations, because there's two of them there. Now, and if you are highly confident in your headshot and abilities, then getting both of those wouldn't be too much of a problem. However, getting one of them and then rushing the second one is going to cost you points because it's not going to be both headshots. In that circumstance, it can be better to close the distance to make sure that you're making life easy for yourself. It would be better to score 2 headshots at close range than 1 headshot at long range and then body shot another, I think. I should really work that out. Now, I'm pretty sure 2 headshots at that sort of range would be better than 1 headshot from over there and then a body shot. I'm certain of that, actually. Need Ellie J in here or Cam. He'll tell us the points differences. But so here's a lovely candidate for us. Lovely. Now, I haven't heard an Orphan yet either. which means... Oh, we're only done the first section. God, look how long this has taken. So we're also going to take what we can. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not just Purist, but when the proverbial shit hits the fan in any other mode, anybody who is worth their weight in unholy wind, I guess, would hold on to the slow-mo button for dear life. Now, we've definitely alerted those guys. They should run to us, but we might be on a low enough cycle that they might not stay interested for long enough. But yeah, we don't have that crutch. Right, fellas, if you would. Now, this is part and parcel of the scoring technique. Again, you do this as much as sanity allows, and you also do it on your own ability because I might end up hitting him in the head of behind. That scores. That scores. Woo, 3 for 3. And that scores. But if you are sitting at a range in Purist and those are body shots, do yourself a favour and close the distance in until you are consistently headshotting, because you are just wasting points. Now, for me, the reason why I bang on about points in Purist so much is because Purist is the mode that is made for the points getter. Because slow time in this game, sometimes special arrows, and I'll say it again, and slow time are seen as crutches within this game by what was a select few players. And so, you know, they want to give themselves something to be good at that they can compete with everything, with all the training wheels, or in their eyes they see slow-mo as, you know, a crutch. And to a point, I suppose it is, but it is also a massive part of the game. There are leaderboards set up for people to be able to show off, in essence, what is the hardest core mode that you can do on this game. So, of course, scoring and leaderboards will matter to anybody playing this mode. I think the point that I'm getting at here is I can't see anybody playing this mode for fun, not when we have all of those other fantastic modes. This one is for your leaderboard hunter. This one is for your position hunter. And so because of that, score is very important. Because score is very important, we need to make the most of every single enemy that comes... Oh, lovely. That comes up against us, simply because of the fact that we will quite quickly get to a point. Turn the volume up, Sean. Might just be if you got the YouTube app, might need restarting. God, there was some great arrows there. The only problem... Yeah, you can find the volume for an app is different to your overall phone volume and call volume and like notification volume. So yeah, you might just need to notch it up a bit. Hello, Rena. Yeah, still connected. Ooh, hello. To be fair, I do it all the time, but my... Oh, no look. I do it all the time as far as volume is concerned, and it's when I'm watching something in bed, and then all of a sudden, massive amounts of volume and music come on because I skipped past a video, and it'll wake up people in the vicinity. So, as I said, this mode is for your point scorer. I mean, Fletcher, though. Fletcher, I think, is my favourite mode. I would happily take runner back. I would take runner back, but there would be a proviso to it because I want it to come back as a better mode than it was. And I'd still say replace Purist with it, because if you want to self-impose not having slow-mo and not losing slow motion, you can do that quite easily. Whereas Fletcher, we can't do that. There isn't a checkbox within the game to do that. Runner, there isn't a timer that we can put on the screen to do that. So it's the reason why I would have said Purist would have been what I would have got rid of, just because it's not doing anything we can't self-impose. Anybody speak to John Holland? He's been playing Purist from the get-go. So, 2 seconds. That's a tough question. Well, seeing as we don't have Runner, I like Fletcher. I like both. I think I'm competitive enough in the regular way on Runner to enjoy it, and Fletcher, I just like the fact that I can compete by doing things completely differently. So, 6 one, half a dozen of the other. So with Runner, the only caveat that I would have to its return is we need separate leaderboards for every level. Thank you very much. Let's sort you out first. Ooh, secret red. I'll explain that in a minute, but that is something, especially in this mode, to look out for on the early levels. Just clear this area. Oh, we've alerted you. Damn it. No points. Well, except the gold. Oh, hello. Yeah, I think it's because my tracking's improved, actually, Jules. I'm using it. I think I'm using it a little bit more, but then me using it a little bit is actually a lot because I barely use the shard. So you're quite right. So as far as Runner's concerned, the caveats that I would have is I think vanilla arrows all the way and separate leaderboards for separate worlds so that every world actually gets a look in and the likes of those that are quick don't just play the same map. And yeah, I think vanilla arrows would be a better way to do it because then it just removes the random element. And then it'll be a better mode for it, I think. Let's see if we can get that one. Yes, and again. Ah, no! Missed him. Lovely. So it is actually something that I think is quite important because I could see myself getting caught unawares on Cycle 1. As we may or may not know, I've been told it's a feature. I do believe it is a graphical glitch, but let's pretend that it's a feature. The red knights within the game, once you unlock them, hide in white armour. It's very easy to be knocking knights down that are heading towards you with one headshot when you haven't got slow-mo to rely on, and you are knocking down white knights and they're at that distance where you're doing 450 damage and they go down in one headshot. When you are doing that and one doesn't, it could cause panic. The reason why you can be doing that and a white knight does not go down in one headshot, in Cycle 1 at the very least anyway, is because it is a red knight in the wrong skin. And that can be very annoying. Well, that's why you should do it the same way as me, young Michael. I would love to have a reason to fight from up here. Can we still do this? Yeah, we can. Lovely. Glitch right there for you. Oh, and there's another one. Putting them in together tonight. Right, there's a couple of enemies up there. This can be quite dangerous. So yeah, that red knight thing I think is quite an important one because there's a few times when I've hit a white knight. Well, it happened just there. I mean, I'm a bit long in the tooth to panic on Cycle 1. But it could happen. No, that's white knights in general. Oh. It's white knights in general. That can happen on any mode. I don't think I've seen it on any level other than Purgatory, if I'm honest. It might have crept into Desolation as well. Beanie has said, on Super Bright's behalf, hee, aren't we sneaky? We disguise red knights as white knights. It's not true. Fake news, I say. Just like, oh, those lighting effects, yeah, they're purposeful. Right. Why you would fake a red knight as a white knight, I don't know. Because it's not going to really catch anybody out. I think it's a graphical glitch. And it'll be one of those classic examples that we always talk about in this game, where they change one thing and it changes something else, and they don't know how it happened, and it's too much headache to go back and try and fix it. Or they would have to change too many parameters back to be able to do anything about it. So what we like score-wise, not bad. I'm still undecided with my own Purist runs whether I will just safely rooftop hop through Paradise Lost. Because I'll tell you now, it's either going to be in the pit or Paradise Lost is where we'll lose our health. All right, here. That's a dangerous situation. That's one of the situations that I would run from. I started firing arrows before I realised what was behind. That was lucky. I started firing arrows before I realised what was being covered by that Black Knight. I thought it might be an abomination, but it turns out it was an archer. When you have that situation, especially with a Black Knight who is big and has a shield and will body block arrows toward the archer, when it is the classic IDU example of, you know, you're going to lose some life here, is a melee enemy charging down your throat with an archery guy behind firing shots at you. It's a lot to deal with. So you do what we do and you get the fuck out. All right, 2 seconds. I've got to be careful with lifting the headset and looking at these things. White Knights are in all games. Yeah, they are. Figuratively and metaphorically. Oh, I thought there was one hiding in there then. I mean, look at this. That's not right, is it? And we're talking about the lighting here. That can't be right. This, that, what? And then these guys coming in and dark, but the light though? Why are you not shining? Almost made an example of me. But yeah. Sort out Super Bright. Come on now. Jesus Christ. Now, if I start speeding up, it's probably because I'm either running out of things to say, strange, or I might be getting bored myself. Now, that is a cheeky arrow. I heard you do that. God, that was a Desolation style arrow. Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, I'll argue the toss on it. Why put all of these, why change the engine so that you can increase the dynamicism of the light to then do that? Pit Orphan maybe. If you are struggling, I know, right? And I have all the words. There was a... When I was in the sales industry, there was a joke that I used to make. My brother is a real-life, bona fide wind turbine technician. So the joke was that he used to go out there and harvest the wind, and then I would then heat it up and blow it out. Because salesmen and speaking hot air, you know, it's a bit of a DIY joke. You can fill in the blanks for yourselves there. But, yeah. I mean, there's things that I can talk about with Purist, I'm sure. I just do feel like it's going over old ground. But I've also said that there will be elements tonight of monkey don't do what monkey see. So again, note that I'm on this snow plane. Also note how these crenellations are probably blocking that knight. So I am now lower than him, and it will have the same effect. In fact, what a great time to experiment when life is absolutely... No, you're not going to throw axes when you're lower than me. Or will you? Oh, yes, you will! Shut up, Silver. Good man. So, yeah, again, it was because of these crenellations that when he's looking at me are blocking... I mean, this isn't necessarily how it's coded, how it works, or how it is. But this is the way that I will try explain it because it fits the criteria. Is that if you can block... I would go as far as to say 60% of your hitbox from an enemy, i.e. a knight, they won't start throwing them axes, throwing them bones at you. Oops. Oh, I hear you. Now we're going to be extra specially careful on this Orphan, and I am going to do a textbook... Right, textiest, bookstiest you've ever seen. We're going to get that Orphan, and it's going to be the last thing alive. And the way we are going to do that, and then I'm going to do it again in the pit, and it's going to be glorious. So what we're going to do here, do what monkey, do the monkey do, say do, don't-y do, is what I'm after, I think. So... what we're going to do here is we want that Orphan because that Orphan is worth a lot of points if we can make it an easy take. How do we make it an easy take? What I'm going to attempt to do here... Hello. What I'm going to attempt to do here... I'll talk about arrows as well, because that literally I can dodge that by being stock still and moving slightly to the right or left with the locomotion stick. Locomotion very powerful in this mode because it's one of the only real tools that you have at the lower cycles. At higher cycles, you don't want to be even entertaining the fact of an arrow coming towards you and using locomotion. So what we're going to do here with this Orphan, I know the Orphan is there. Definitely, hopefully, definitely there. I'm going to clear the area that I want her to run through. So I want her to run away from me and hopefully out this way. So I'm going to clear this path. I'm then going to approach her from the other not so cleared path and try and get the kill. Now, is there one down there? No, there's not. We've cleared all of this area out. And the reason being is because if I attack her from the area that I've started, I will be forcing the Orphan into the danger zone, which then means that I've got the pressure of trying to kill the Orphan whilst dealing with other enemies. We don't want that pressure if we can avoid it. And we avoid it by taking everything out systematically. So that is like kinda, I don't know, part one of taking an Orphan out. Clear their escape route out of all enemies. That's how you should start. The next part of this is clearing out enemies as close to her as we can without alerting her. Which is done this way. Are you going to stay behind there? Let's lure you out with an arrow, hopefully. Yes. That was not the headshot that we were looking for. Secret Red Knight, look at that. Lovely. Because you might fire that shot off and then not think to draw a second because there's only one enemy here that we need to worry about. So we've got most of the enemies in and around this area. I know that if I go past these pillars, the Orphan will clock me from this side. There are a couple more angles that we can try, but we can't fire any arrows from these angles or she will hear us. One of the angles that we can try might go horribly wrong. But for the demos, though, I might have to move very quickly and risk some life here. But we could go up here, have a look at these guys, and then go somewhere else. Now, this is a little bit more risky than I would like to play because you don't want to be having to draw enemies and then fight them in an area that you can't control. That was definitely the creak of an arrow. Like this guy up here. Risky stuff. What I would normally do if I wasn't trying to clear the area as systematically as I can do is I would be tempted to fight that courtyard from up here, knowing that the Orphan will most likely run that way, or fight it from that there. And we're getting to the point now where there's not so many enemies around that we can think about doing that. We want to be careful that we don't alert those. Now, we can jump here. And it's all about staying out of line of sight of the Orphan. We're going to go down here next. There isn't any enemies on the side bits, and there is the possibility that we will be able to lure enemies. Hello, sir, if you would be so kind. Thank you very much. Would you like another? So we are now visually luring enemies because firing arrows is probably not as risky as I'm making it out to be, but we don't want to be wanging arrows into this because the Orphan sometimes changes how easily she can detect arrow shots. Like firing an arrow at that monk there may trigger the Orphan. Now we can probably get, I think she's a little bit further along than I thought. So again, and drag this one out. This one we are going to corner, let him come round and turn. It is usually quite risky to do that because it just takes a missed shot and you've given an enemy a free swipe at you. I think she's a little bit further in than I thought. No, she's not. Okay. Now, is she going to run? I hope so. Off you go, loves. Nope, she's not. That's dangerous. Well, that didn't work out quite as nicely as I wanted it to. But after being in that little party room, we'll move away. There's probably going to be a lot of things on their way towards us. Problem with doing that is, although I'm capable of doing it, it's still risky. I could have easily gotten hit there. And we want to be avoiding that situation. She was exactly where I thought she was as well. The sound wasn't quite as well placed as I thought it was. So anyway, let's clear up here and I will do a second demonstration on how to do the Orphan in the pit. Cool. That looks like we're all good. That'll do us. Pit is even riskier. So one of the things that you can do with the Orphan, and what I probably should have done from where I was there, is run. Because if you can break line of... if you can hit the Orphan, which then means that the next thing she has to do is run before she goes... Hello, Kyle. Oh, 2 seconds. Best arrow to kill 10 bats at once would be... Well, it depends on if you want a combo. I would probably say... Wrath of God, but Wrath of God can be difficult to come by. So I would then potentially say Cupid's Wrath, but a lot of the explosive arrows will do the job. However, Unholy Wind is the best arrow for herding up said bats. And if you need any more clarification on it, I could show you potentially later. Oh, that was a bad shot. That was also a bad shot. Unnecessary pressure right here. Yeah. I think Cupid's Wrath is probably the easiest because it goes off as soon as it hits the ground, whereas Cataclysm, you've then got an element of a fuse to worry about. Wrath, the reason why Wrath is probably the best, but Wrath can be a very rare pickup, so you might have to go through an entire cycle to get a Wrath, to go to Desolation, to then herd up the bats. That can be annoying. Cupid's Wrath can be in the first chest that you come across, and is quite a common drop. Right, let's get these ghosts interested. So again, 101 tactics as far as Pit is concerned. lure in the enemies in this opening stage, clear them out, make your safe space, and most importantly, as I keep on doing, stay away from the walls. So, yeah, that would be your best shout. For me, I would just keep on restarting, what's it called? Keep restarting Desolation. Now, this is one of the situations where I would start saying, especially at those sort of distances, in the pit, and this also carries on to Paradise Lost as well, is don't be as concerned with headshots, be more concerned of your life in these situations. That's why I just threw a load of arrows toward that skeleton to make sure that I was hitting him. Taking those extra seconds to aim the headshot can be the difference between letting them get an arrow off or them dying. Now, let's see if we can angle these guys. Where are you going? There you are. No, there's always going to be ghosts going to come down. Again, we've angered probably a little bit more than I wanted to, but we have retreated back into our safe space. Those boys will go all the way around because that's clearly the best path. Yeah, that's awkward. Cheers, skeleton archer dude. I'm going to lure him in. There we go. I did hear a knight. It's one of the things that I would definitely say, and it's probably one of the things that make Incubi one of the hardest enemies down here, because I say that they're easy, but the one thing that they are really good at doing that I don't think anybody ever, I don't know, doesn't really pick up on, they're really good at making a lot of fucking noise, and it covers all of the cues. Like, with these guys doing what they were doing, I could easily miss the sword pull of a knight. A knight unsheathing his sword, I knew you were going to do that whilst I was talking. A knight unsheathing his sword is him becoming alerted, and then the next thing is he's going to come track you down and try and stick you with the pointy end. Incubi make so much noise once they're alerted that they can cover a lot of sounds, especially ghosts. Ghosts make a fucking racket when they're coming at you, but if you've got that going on in the background, that's where you'll take your hits. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, they never want to teleport for me. Look at that. Lovely. Thank you very much. Got to get that ghost, though. One thing to note with ghosts in this situation, multiple shots in the body will stagger them and will stop them bearing down on you. I would have said if you get more than 2 or 3 ghosts coming at you, you need to start making distance. And it is probably better to do it with the shard than anything else, because again, we can't rely on slow time. If this was Cycle 1 in any other mode, I'd probably be doing an executioner style. Yes, quite right, Sog. Cheers, Mr. Fish. Bam. Ooh, teleporty. So we know that we heard a ghost, but one's probably quite a ways away, and it's taking time to get to us, but still give it plenty of time. It's, again, something I've said in Paradise Lost, and it kind of carries across to this as well, is if you think you have heard a sound cue, retreat to a safe space. In the pits, remember, a safe space is no walls really around you, as well as all the other things of a safe space, because ghosts will materialize through them, and that's where you will take your hit. But if you hear a sound, creak of a bow, sheath of a sword, the heavy breathing of a ghost, you retreat and you count to 10. So, yeah, that'll happen. I remember one of the... There we go. A little bit of visual luring there. Just you two boys. I know one's coming from over there and one's coming from over there. So I'm going to position myself in a place where I can see a long line on that one and as long a line on this one. Whilst this one's being hit, it can't hit me. Once it's close, you'll see the stagger effect. I don't really want to play that game, though, because every piece of life is quite valuable at this point. And I'm hoping to stream this a few times more this time than the Fletcher run. So we've got our safe space now, as I was talking about. We've carved that out. And now it is literally a case of, and in Purist you need to be even more vigilant with doing this, it's those little sneaky peekies out, visually luring where you can, using arrows where you have to, and then retreating back to your safe space. Be careful of skeleton archers. They are the only enemies in the game at an early cycle that will actively ignore the whole "you've been alerted" and teleporting to within the player's gaze. They are bastards for teleporting outside of the player's gaze. This is part of the reason why players like me and others can predict after alerting where things are going to go, because we know that if we close down angles of approach, it leaves enemies that can teleport a finite options of to where they can actually go if they want to teleport. Skeletons break this rule, and quite often it's one of the reasons why they are a very difficult enemy. Have you seen me at the top there? Yes, you have. See, that was probably too much, and in that situation I didn't think. Don't want to play that game with you. That's a situation where if you're not experienced, or you're not happy with it, run. Just run. Run away. That's too many. So this is another thing, I suppose, as well. There's a lot of enemies for us to attack from this angle. I don't want to take that many on. There's ghosts there, there's skeleton archers, and all sorts. Now, we can probably angle it so we can just visually alert the ghost. We've also alerted something behind us as well. But we've got time on the ghost before it gets to us. But again, these are the situations where you are learning to play the game. And to be fair, if you're playing Purist, you're probably not a beginner. But as you're learning to play the game, I was quite happy that I was going to alert the ghost. Didn't check my behind section, alerted something else, and all of a sudden, I've turned what should have been an easy 1v1 into a very difficult 2v1. I will remind me. Sorry, hang on. We haven't got there yet. What was can you? Sorry, Sean. Can you rewrite it? I was answering something else, and I can't remember what it was. Well, give me the gist. I'll probably remember. Oh yes, sorry. You did say that, and I did start saying that. If you're only capable of getting to cycle 4, then I would have probably said the pit one is... Yeah, I would have said yes. It's when you start getting to past cycle 4 that you then have to start weighing up, is an orphan worth 2 dings? That was risky. Look, even I run. See? Way too much going on there. I heard that guy go behind me, or start going behind me. Now we might have some ghosts coming in as well, and they'll be coming over from that quadrant. Missed him. Now, once they're alerted, as I said, they'll keep going and they'll block out a lot of sound. But I know that they like to teleport into that corner there, so I'm going to move a little bit and see if we can get one to do that, just to demonstrate. He may even teleport up here. So yeah, I would have said up to cycle 4, I would have said it's worth the risk, because you're only going to take 1 point of damage. Whereas past that, you can potentially take more. And so I think an orphan is a good shout to go for and risk a point of health early doors. However, I don't think an orphan is worth risking more than 1 life for. And the further you go down the track, the less, you should be able to pick apart around a something to make the Orphan a relatively easy take. If you can't, then you've either not done it right or it's terrible positioning. Like, for instance, Agony. That Orphan, and those who play Agony, and those who go for that Orphan, know exactly what Orphan I'm talking about. That Orphan can go get fucked. I've said that in my pit video before. Or I've said it in a video before. There's an Orphan that's right down in the middle of the dance floor. There is nothing that you can do but try and take everything on. And it's a risky proposition. If you know that you're going into there and potentially losing multiple life, then I would fuck it off completely. That was potentially a running scenario. Ooh, lovely headshot. Let's have you. So at this point now, I can't even hear the Orphan, which means that there's a lot of enemies over here because she hasn't spawned in. It also means that I'm not weapons free, just die. Not weapons free, but I can get away with a little bit more than I normally would. Like, for instance, I definitely know the Orphan is down there. And now we can hear her. Now she's spawned in. Oh, it's too late now. It's done. She's in. She's spawned. So now we've got to start clearing. Now I'm trying to think where she is. I think she is on the landing. That makes her a very difficult proposition. Let's see if we can not lose any life. Now, I don't want to even risk walking past that. And to do that, I'm going to go there. And I'm going to go up and around to try and make sure that I get the right angle so that I don't see her. What I'm going to attempt, because I know she's on this side. So what I'm going to attempt to do now, and this is where we may come a cropper with the gaps that can be in the level. So we're going to try and start luring some of these out to our safe space. Yeah, no exception this time. Ooh, lovely moves. Well done, sir. Alright, and you. Yeah, there's not a lot that we can do. The only thing that we can do here is, again, we have our safe space. It's all cleared out. We've done the rest of the level. We've done most of what's down there as well, but we don't want to risk doing too much more. I think we've got everything. And now we are going to... This is basically cutting the pie, if you know what military terms are. We're slowly going to peek around and see what we can lure in. We don't want to throw any arrows down there because we've got the potential of luring other things. I don't want to lure too many enemies my way at a time either, and I don't want to fight them on that line because stray arrows, which is why I'm going to repeatedly come back take out the enemies, try and make sure that was a bad angle because I could have easily sent an arrow whizzing down there. And I wouldn't be concerned about alerting the enemies, I would have been concerned about alerting the Orphan. And we go again. And it's these little... So we're basically, I don't know, pinching the enemies around the Orphan by degrees. We could go that way, but I might alert the Orphan as I travel past. So let's not. Let's go back this way again. Everyone loving the stream so far? Yeah? I mean, I know this is riveting stuff. I tell you what, though, to be fair, if my very first Orphan hunting live stream had gone this clinically, I would have been very happy. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched it, it didn't. So this is a better shout. So we'll have that one next. And back. Yeah, I think the stairs isn't too bad because the stairs, the pillar actually blocks from where I am line of sight to some of the enemies that are on the stage. The stage is arguably worse because she can like look across the entire... Boy, just going for a vape. Oh, cheeky boy. If that had been cycle 4, that would have been a life loss. Right, if you'd be so kind, sir. Didn't even hear him. Skeleton archers, ladies and gentlemen. What a bunch. Funny how monetization changes you. The C word was on the tip of my tongue and I managed to hold it in. And by C word, YouTube, I meant the... No, I shouldn't even say it, should I? Or anything that sounds remotely like it. Right then. On. A little bit more. It's another thing as well that Purist is not good for me. I use slow time. Come on, let's have some more of you. We've also got to be ready to move on a dime just in case she does decide to go. Move on a dime? No. Move on something really fast. Excellent. Yes, I usually do as well. I surprise myself with my restraint. Civilian under naval torture. Very good, Rena. I might have to modify that slightly for my own effect. So we should... Again, this is all about not getting line of sight with the Orphan. My concern is that there are gaps in the geometry. Now, I don't think I've ever alerted her doing this before. But there's always a first time. There's another. Oh, that's another 2. Lovely. See, I'm an Air Force. I'm a RAF. Well, not a RAF brat, but... Right, let's change the angle on her so we don't send any arrows whizzing off to that lovely area that we're clearing. And the idea... Do we despawn her back here? No, surely not. The whole reason why we are doing this is we're just trying to make the Orphan an easy kill. So... Now... Those shots are risky. Actually, down where the portal is possibly one of the easiest places to get her, because she is then sheltered from you via view from a lot of different angles. Once she's in there, you can kill a lot of things this way, and if she breaks for it, you can nail her, or if she stays in there, you can, keep her pinned down. One of the things that we could try here, but this is a bit risky, and we do have to be ready to move, is putting a shot there. It might alert her. If it does, we're going to have to bolt. If it doesn't, it's 2 more enemies. Bye-bye. 2 more enemies that we don't have to deal with when we're going for our Orphan. That was a little bit far out. Now, is there any more up here that we could potentially lure? No. So... I reckon 1 skeleton, 1 knight. Now, because we know the composition of enemies, there might not be anything left there. We shall see. Because we know the composition of enemies that we're going to be going for, there's a couple of things that we can do. We know that there could potentially be a skeleton archer. So, go on, Kyle. If you have spent any money in any of those on a budget achievements, in any cycle, in any world leading up to the world that you need to get it from, you won't get it. The best way to do it is be able to do Asmo. Did I see it? No, I didn't. Be able to do Asmo with vanilla arrows only and go in on Abyss. Just go in on Abyss. Once you can do Asmo with vanilla arrows, and it is something that you should practice, and it is something that once you know his routines, you should be capable of in cycle 1. Just go into Abyss, rooftop hop all the way to Asmo, and do him. The other option that you would have is you could kill enemies along the way, hoping for a drop. You could also go into the pit to guarantee you some drops and then use those on him. And then that saves you having to go into the shop. So, what do we know about the enemy composition? We know that we have knights. We know that we have skeleton archers. By being up high, we reduce the risk of something trying to get in our face. So let's go up high and see what we're dealing with. We'll prioritise her. We'll kill that. And then we'll come back a little bit. And then we will be at a far enough distance away so that you are just going to take a headshot, an easy headshot, and that's a reasonably decent amount of points. And if we alert the other one, he may go up there as well. Yes? No? Yes? No? Okay, well, let's just deal with him then. Oh, there we go. Now he goes. Now we go. Ah, no, he doesn't. Go on. This is a classic... Ugh, rubbish. This is a... Well, the thing is, if you're not confident with your abilities on the Orphan there, then you would take everything else out and you would just body her to stop her going. And if it looked really, really... We can get a bit more distance out of that, I think. If it was looking really, really bad... Oh, I just got lucky. Hey, there we go. So, what I've done there... She didn't leave because she was... She can... It's not 20 to 30 seconds. She will usually run and then go to leave. She can do that almost instantaneously, and it takes about 5 seconds for her to levitate away. If you are causing damage to her or in her proximity, she cannot teleport away. It will also reset her escaping cycle. This is one of the next big videos that I do want to do, is everything that we know about the Orphan so far, because I think that would be quite a good video, and I will make it in my own infotainment way. But yeah, it's put in... no worries, dude. It's put in hits on her will stop her. So if I was up... So you'll have seen that I was looking at the other enemies as well, and I put a headshot on her. And after that headshot, because I was far enough away from her, she instantly started to teleport away again. I could have done one of two things at that point. Teleported on top of her, in which case she would have teleported and then ran away, or run away and then levitated away. Or I could have body shotted her and she would have started her cycle again. It's one of the things to note is, and one thing that I don't think is known that well, is that if a Orphan is taking damage over time, so from, say, Winter's Bite, I know we haven't got it in Purist, but if a Orphan is taking damage over time of any description, they are not allowed to engage in their teleporting away thing. It's why a Curse of God into an Orphan, because the curse will, like 99.9% of the time, affect the Orphan, is a really good way to deal with them, because you can put the curse into them and know that they can't run. Although curse doesn't do... This is Curse of God or COG. Although Curse of God doesn't do a lot of damage over time, it's actually quite weak in comparison to other DOT arrows. Although it doesn't do any much damage over time, it does last a long time, even if it doesn't kill and spread. And so Curse is a good one whilst you are learning to hunt Orphans, just to keep them around longer. But yeah, I mean, I didn't make that bigger a hash up of what I was talking about the Orphan hunting live stream that we did. There was some decent-ish tips there, so it'd be worth having a look, because I explained quite a lot in that. Yeah. Bad shot. Unexpected, and run. Basically. Risky up here, this is. So that was just a couple of stray arrows, alerted too much. I didn't knock my headshots in as I should have, and it then creates a dangerous scenario where I could lose life. Discretion is very much the better part of valor. I mean, I don't like that there's a hole there, and I could have easily been bingoed through it by, well, it would have been. So, yeah, hang on a second, let me just have a quick, once I've got a second, and then we'll talk about distance. Let me have a quick drink and a smoke. So we're starting to get onto sniper range now, And the reason why I use sniper range is that's the terminology that is given in Siege of Heaven. I don't know the exact distance, if I'm honest. And because there's no indication as to what it is on here, then there's not a lot that we can do. Now, long-shotting and sniping these enemies, if you are confident, isn't too bad. But more often than not, these ones sort of like, even at this distance, especially for me, I mean, I've got some cover here, so I might make use of that. But even that's risky. But let's cut the angle off as well. So what we're going to do here is, I'll go for this guy. Now, this would probably be considered long range. That guy that's starting to go off into the mist that you should be able to see in the stream, I think, that would be considered like what I would call extremely long range or extreme range or sniper range or what have you. And again, I don't call it sniper because I'm trying to be XXX sniper 360 elite no scope, or sorry, 360 elite no scope or anything along those lines. It's because that's the terminology that is given to that shot in Siege. So this should, damage-wise, be about 992 if I get a headshot. Oh, 987, not far off. So that will have got us a decent chunk of points. Probably about 700 or 800. Same with that guy and same with that guy. These ones I would expect about 1,200 points from in total. Gold, headshot, distance, marksman, and everything. But the problem is they can shoot back. Bastards, right? What? You don't want to shoot back, because what happens if you fuck up the headshot? So, two options. Don't fuck up the headshot, but then each missed shot as well is another opportunity to alert more enemies that then may teleport in down your throat and cause panic. Let's see if we can get that one. No, you're safe. And then they're in. I mean, lovely. I'll give you an 8.5 for that fall. The problem with this sort of range is you get to the point where I can't predict exactly where I need to fire that arrow to get the headshot every time. The only person that I know that can do that is Beanie, and even he doesn't get it right every time. And he does this horizontal thing where... Oh, actually, hang on, that's the point. Am I on right eye or left eye? I should change that if I'm on right eye, but I'll have a look in a minute. Might make it a little less jarring experience when you are watching me shoot. I don't aim the arrows as much as I would like to think, and it really rankles me as somebody who's into their marksmanship principles on shooting, is that I'm kind of guesstimating from experience and knowledge and playing the game too much and trajectories and stuff. And so because of that, I can't land that headshot first time every time. God, that was well off. Now, the problem with not being able to land those headshots first time every time is return fire. And if you don't hit the headshot and hit the body shot instead, well, then you're just costing yourself points. And this is risky. This is risks that I should not be taking because this is precious. It's very precious. Maybe I did. Oh, I don't know. He is pretty much the king of bastards. Right, let's try that again. So my point is here, this isn't a great example of an enemy to try and headshot because of that, and also because that they would return fire. Although there are points to be made... Oh, I thought that was in. Duh. I thought that was on as well. Oh, no, it is. No, I get you. It is totally worth it. But hey, when have I ever been somebody that's like, yeah, let's try this on a 50-50 basis. Ooh, let's go for this and see if it works. I want fucking results. And I want you to be able to copy them. And I can show you exactly how. Ignore that one, though. So what we're going to do here is we're going to, now that we've cleared the top area, we're going to systematically get rid of any archers that are down here. And we're going to not worry too much about these knights. Although, having said that, there are a few of them. Ah, sod it. Right, so we've got some knights interested. Let's go down here and let's bring them in. Now, this is a great way to score some extra points, and is a great way to practice your extreme snipey, rangy, long range 360 no scope headshot techniques. And what we're going to do, and you probably won't be able to see a lot of this, so what we've done is I've alerted the knights. I have lured them to the edge of Anakim's fortress, monastery, castle, ruin thing. And I've done that by just alerting them and then stepping off. They will try and close the distance with me. They will then throw axes. They will then sit on that ledge, just, well, I don't know, probably looking at the birds, I think is what they're doing there. Yeah, probably looking at the birds. Yeah, that one definitely is. And I can tell you, this is also good advice for anybody who is trying to get the Arrow of God, is it? Or Inconceivable? I can't remember. Actually, is it that one? Is it that one? No, it's this one. God, that's ridiculous. Look at that distance. Can you even see that? Probably not. So it's this distance that is considered... This is an inconceivable shot, I believe. So it is multiple pillars back. If we go any further back, those guys will despawn because we are too far away. Now, this is how you can practice your long-range shot and get some decent points. Now, what we want to do is we want to obviously aim as best as we can in whatever tactic you do and fire very, very high and then slowly bring down the arrows. Now, let's check points, and I've got to remember to do this a second time. 211741. So when I'm working out points in these sort of things, I remember this, and this number. I just remember the 4 numbers because it's only going to be in the thousands. It's not going to be a 10,000 point shot. So we just remember 1741. 1741. Easy. What great year. No, I think you get maximum points from this one. Because the points... Well, there is a point where the points cap out. Now, those body shots are not helping us, but it doesn't matter too much because as long as a headshot at this range will get us an awful lot of points. Oh, there you go. So those body shots didn't count towards anything score-wise, and so that was 1741 to 3021. So that one shot that we hit was worth 1,200 and something. Yeah, actually, you might be right. But then this is the thing, is you can make this shot even longer, and if you're able to hit them, then when you close the distance a little bit more... Well, let's test. So 3021. It's been ages since I've done long-range head shooting like this. Oop. So let's move it in one. So I think we got about 1,200 odd points. I think Sean's right here. Now, you might be able to actually see this guy this time. So 3021. He's already taken some damage, so we can't really afford to miss the headshot. No. Look at that one go. Let's get back in your castle. 3,000. Yeah, so there you go. Sean is completely right. It's been a while since I've done this. So, be it there or here. So it is this spire. The thing that gets me is the configuration that you can have leading up to Anakim's, I think, can be a little bit different. As in, like, it doesn't always have to be step, 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 step. It can be a long run. And these can be on the... on different levels. So yeah, he's completely right. Well done, Sean. Step back 1, and then that will give you maximum points. So if you are prepared, and I am not because it is fucking boring, because most of you guys won't be able to see what I'm doing. If you are prepared to lure the enemies out to this edge, well then that's 1,200 points for making a shot that has no risk to yourself. Because not even anything's not going to throw anything at you at that distance. You don't even have to, like, hide the 60%. Damn it. Don't even have to hide the 60% of your hitbox that we were talking about previously. I definitely alerted an archer. Again, as I was saying about earlier, if you think you've heard the sound cues and you haven't, it is always better to go to somewhere that you are sure, I'm not massively sure, but reasonably sure that you have cleared, and wait, because they may come teleporting in. Likewise, if you hear the alert noises, so I want to deal with this guy reasonably quickly because something else, he was alerted and was walking around. When you hear that creak of the bow, that means that something either is going to drop an arrow into the closest wall, or more likely get some silly angle and get a stupidly lucky hit on you. So move. Let's go up here. The other thing to be... Well, that was another one. The other thing to note with when you alert enemies as well, if you alert them and they lose interest and you go back, especially with archers, that can be quite a dangerous situation. And the reason being is because they are... When an archer is alerted for the first time, they can't actually start their shoot an arrow at you animation until they have actually drawn an arrow from their magical invisible quiver that's at their back. Once they have the arrow in hand, only then can they notch an arrow and fire it at you. Until that point, they're null and void. They can't shoot. Like, for instance, I can't really demonstrate because this guy hasn't got enough life, but you've got those few seconds when monks do that Fonzie, "Hey!" I assume that's what they're saying, "Hey!" and then shoot them. You've got those seconds between that and them drawing an arrow. Once they've then drawn that arrow, they will keep that arrow drawn even if they lose interest in you, teleport away somewhere, move away, or you move away. Leave it long enough and they will put that arrow back. It's all about these additional stages that they have before they can actually fire at you. The game does give you, obviously in the first few cycles, a lot of grace with the amount of what I would classically call, and Rena will love, might be familiar with the military terminology, the flash to bang time, the time of something starting and then happening or finishing. And so the flash to bang time, it's throwing a grenade and a flashbang and it going off. The flash to bang time on enemies is quite big, especially in respect to archers in the lower cycles. As you progress through the cycles, that flash to bang time is shortened and shortened and shortened and shortened until we get to, I think it's 15, when it caps out, and nothing will go actually any faster anymore. Yeah. There are times when that will happen. Now, again, what I'm doing here is I'm going to construct some long-range headshots because I can. You can't get a great amount of distance on these guys, but they're reasonably easy shots. It's all extra points. Why wouldn't you, I guess? And it's all, a worst-case scenario, you'll get a load of execution hits. So we've lured everything to here by going up onto a railing. Note how these guys can't attack us because we're not close enough. If we get a little closer, it'll rile up the boys. We then teleport back up over here, onto here, and they will turn around. Ooh, let's get on top of it. And some of them will look at me, most of them will stay looking away. What we're then going to do is we're going to walk along here. Oh no, we're going to have to teleport then. Teleport along here. So again, we are increasing the distance. I know it doesn't seem much, but the difference between there and there is probably about, 50 points per shot maybe. Keep doing this and you'll get more points over time. But again, it's safe and it's something that you can do. And if you wanted to really shine them off, you do these headshots in quick succession. Yeah, I'd say 500's about right. And as I said, if you can land these headshots, or rather kills, quite quickly, you are then getting the other element of the point scoring going, which is executioner. But Executioner is a risky tactic at best, especially in this mode, and not worth as many points as going solely for Marksman at worst. If you can combine them, happy days, but Marksman, by how this game works, I can't think of many scenarios other than in a tournament that Executioner trumps, or in a timed event or runner, in a timed points event, that I can't think of a situation where Executioner would trump Marksman. Marksman always comes up king, because the way to score points in this game the most is long-range headshots, and it also is the least risky. How we can do Anakin? What should we do? It's easy enough to milk him for points, but I haven't played enough around with Anakin at the moment to know about the increased aura that everyone's talking about. Anyway, let's do him the regular way. So we want to be landing headshots. Yeah, well, if I lose life, I lose life. It's only a demo, isn't it? This isn't like my scoring run for the season or anything. Let's see if we can get the other lot interested. And away. Didn't want you there, to be honest. So what we are doing here is we are alerting the archers in a way and means that we want to maximise the points that we can score from Anakin. Now, I know what you're thinking. God, wouldn't it be entertaining if I was to milk every enemy of all the points that we could at this stage? I mean, you know, that's got to be up there with some of the best streams ever. But we're not going to do that. I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit and then we're going to crack on, because I want to do some Paradise Lost. Because that is where I'll lose life. Also, I want to get through this without losing life so I can go, hey, Knob! So, now, you'll see that as I'm killing these abominations, although it could still happen, Knob, hold on to your butts! As I'm killing these abominations, you'll see that there is a cash value coming out of them. That is because we are scoring from them. That's the way that you can tell that we are still scoring from farming abominations at this point, because gold springs from their head. There will come a time, if you kill enough of these, that gold will stop coming from their head. All abominations, and knights, because they're covered within this as well. When the abominations stop scoring, the knights usually stop scoring either very soon after or straight after. It is kind of worth milking at this point, because again, we're talking about only having finite cycles that we can get points from. So in that circumstance, you want to be top boy, you need to be getting all the points out of every cycle that you can. And one of the ways to do that is to farm headshots. And again, we want to be making these headshots as long as possible. Yeah, as you should. As you should, Sean. It's a good idea. But it doesn't make for a very riveting stream. I don't think it does anyway. I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. So, let's get some life off him. Here we go. Now, we're going to deal with these awful quick and not worry too much about all headshots. It's as much about staggering them at that point as well. And I think what we'll do here is we'll end it there. Bear in mind, when those waves spawn in, they die when Anakin dies, but you don't get the points from them. I don't even think you get the gold from them, and they definitely don't count towards your kill totals as far as things like kill so many archers. That I have tested. Alright, wet in the smoke before I crack on with Paradise Lost. I know, but it's a stream, isn't it? I'm trying to keep it entertaining, Sean, as best as I can. To be fair, I wasn't far off of getting most of them. The reason why I say it's a good idea to farm them To be fair, I would still carry on as well, Sean, because not only is it good points, and it will what's the word? Buff, I suppose. It will inflate is, but don't take that in a bad way. It will inflate your Purist score. You know, even an extra few thousand might be enough to get you a couple of positions higher up. But doing things that way and farming doesn't teach you quickly how easy it is to take the pressure off of yourself whilst you are dealing with Anakin. Now, how much battery have I got left? Has it worked? Probably not. So, ready to lose some life? Hello, Meg. Ready? Are we ready to lose some life? Because Paradise Lost, this is where it's going to happen, baby. So, I want to get up there, basically, and I will fight from there, and it will probably go horribly wrong. But, actually, no, there's another snicket that we can go to there. Normally, my gut says that you should really just get this out of the way and gone and get through it and not farm it and not try and score well on it, because the problem with this level is scoring is a problem. It's got to be the worst cycle, the worst world for scoring, not just because it doesn't have a pit, but because, I don't know, it's just worth garbage on points. Everything that you're going to be doing is going to be reasonably close range. It's very difficult with these enemies to construct long-range headshots. If you are getting extremely long-range, good-scoring headshots on Cupids, then you are either amazing at the game, or you're getting lucky. If I'm getting headshots at, well, even that range on Cupids, hello, JJ, then... like, I mean, that's not lucky. That's where I'm aiming from. So maybe a little bit further back than that. The problem is, whilst trying to get decent points, more often than not, you will hit body shots, and it's just going to cost you life. That extra split second of aiming off for the head, which more often than not will result in a body shot, is risking your life. Damn it. Is risking your life and is not worth that many points. So, everybody hates Cupids, right? It can't be just me. Like, you know, I can go for the headshot on that, but I didn't expect to make it because they have all sorts of nasty shit that gets in the way of your hitting them. And they've also got the nasty ability to teleport down your throat when you least expect it. So my gut would say, because of the sheer lack of points available on this, that I should just skip it, and it probably wouldn't affect my score that much. But you remember that whole monkey see, monkey don't do? Let's don't do, don't do. Where did you come from? Oh yeah, disappear on me, why don't you? Busted. Busted. Are you gone for good? Oh no, he's back. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid going fast. Because this is the other thing as well, is like, talk to anybody like LG, especially with what he's doing with Mortal, you can invest a lot of time on this mode, and it can fall apart. A great run can fall apart so fucking quickly in this mode. It's unreal. Yeah, it's the slow motion on the crossbow is something that even I've had to adapt into my game, because unfortunately rapid fire will... heard it here first. Rapid fire will only get you so far. There does come a time when you have to start... I mean, rapid fire still works, but there does come a time in some of those later Anakin cycles where you have to use your slow time between bouts of rapid fire, and it doesn't compute for me still as much as it should do. Hence why I will twist on that. Yeah, they have a nasty habit of hiding. So, well, yeah. Woo! That was a good one. That was kind of aimed for. Right, let's get... Ooh, that was bad. That was a bad shot. Hello, 4user. No worries, dude. I'm glad they helped. More coming soon. On the Into the Radius note, I've got a... someone told me the other day, because I put it in my video, that the tide doesn't get rid of things that the player has picked up, and I'm sure it used to, which means that we could do an Into the Radius run where I never go home again and just live out in the radius, and it would be glorious. And I would end up using all the guns that I never do. Every bullet that I scavenge would count. And, yeah. I think it'd be quite fun. Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm thinking of, like, cross... Yeah, well, you wouldn't associate Purist with, like, Cycle 15, would you say? But... Yeah, I'm talking about, I don't think it'll be as hard as it sounds, the Into the Radius thing. So, yeah, that's alright, dude. I'm here. Alright, let's get hidden around this corner. We'll do a bit of cornering. This is why it's dangerous, especially past these, past Cycle 1 or 2, and in Purist. This is dangerous, and the reason being is because if you are relying on cornering to do a lot of your killing, and cornering is luring an enemy... Well, I'll get to that in a minute, bear with. So, on this mode, if you are exclusively use cornering to do a lot of things, you will get to the point where you can't put enough damage on the enemy, and you can't manipulate that enemy's attack pattern in with your slow time, and so they will nearly always get a strike off on you. So in that circumstance, again, I've said it's all about luring and long range play for Purist. That's what you should be concentrating on. As far as Into the Radius is concerned, yes, I would have to return back. It's basically what I'm thinking on Into the Radius is the only time we would go back to base is for missions. I'm not allowed to store anything there. I'm not allowed to sleep there. I'm not allowed to buy anything there or heal there. So literally it is just a get mission, depository. So I would be going back to the base a fair amount, but not for the reasons why you would normally go back to the base. And then what my plan is to make lots of mini... Oh, hello. To make lots of mini bases. I think it'd be a lot of fun. You know as well as I do, JJ, that there's plenty of times when they come around and you are hitting them and they start their animation anyway. Black Knights do it all the bloody time. So, yeah. If you can get them before they come round the corner and turn and face and start, then you're golden. But to do that, you have to hit them before they come round the corner, which then pushes them off at a diagonal, and that's when you get that jump strike that they do. So with proper cornering, you need to pull back off the corner a little bit, lure the enemy, wait for them to come round, then shoot them. If you shoot them before they get round, there's the possibility that they'll attack you through this. So, yeah. It's minute tactic, or like minute grumbles on good tactics, but they are tactics that will definitely get you life loss and killed. In my ever humble opinion. Oh, what a great shot. Oh, what a great shot. Oh, that was a good headshot, though. Again, we can still get away with quite a lot. Right. Mark it here. Somebody put a timestamp in or clip it or something. We can get away with a lot in Cycle 1 because of the powers of locomotion. Oh, cheeky boy. What? It's blended in with the scenery. So we can get away with a lot because of the powers of locomotion. The arrows from Cupids, as we know, are not always aimed at us. More often than not, they are not. And they are very slow moving. So they're even easier to dodge than regular arrows. The problem is the angles, the teleporting, and the weight of fire that a lot of them can put together quite easy. Like, these are the sort of shots that you can construct on any other level, but don't come up very regularly. In Paradise Lost. You've got a lot of stuff to look out for. Don't really want... Well, I got it. Damn it. Oh, dangerous that was. The old shoot and scoot. And run. So, again, the whole constructing... And that happens a lot when constructing these long-range headshots with enemies, which is... Well, hopefully that was a good example as why not to do it. I mean, there is the argument that if I could hit my fucking shots and hit that sooner, then I wouldn't have been in that situation. But one of the problems with Paradise Lost is the colour palette matches enemies very nicely. You can be firing shots and not even realise there's enemies down here sometimes. I mean, red is pretty stark when it comes to white. But, like, you know, the white tunics of the knights, the just overall body of every single bloody Cupid in the game looks like every brick and pillar. So again, risky propositions, and one of the things that you will do a lot of when you are making these or trying for these long-range headshots is, if you're anything like me, you'll miss. Misses go whizzing off into areas that you don't want them to. Misses bring things down on your heads. Misses are what brings the fucking rage of Cupids jumping down your throat. So, right, let's see if we can lure some more of these, because these aren't bad shots. I mean, there isn't usually Cupids in here. They're usually on the outside. Try and get that witch first. Banshee first, rather. And then we'll get you boys. Lovely. Wanted to kill them all from there. We'll have you. We'll have you. Oof, that will have my name on it. And again, though, it's firing these long-range headshots. There's no hope in hell that I can make that a headshot every time. Not on Cupids. So you just body shot. And even body shots can be quite difficult because they're a tiny target and really, really far away. And all those stray arrows are what brings the level down on your down your throat. So they are things to be aware of. Again, monkey see, monkey don't do. Do-do, don't-de-do. Oh! That would have been a great headshot, if you would be so kind. Remember that witches are... Oh, cheeky. Witches are under the confines and the same sort of teleporting rules as archers. If they have alerted you... Wait, whoa. Hang on. Ask me in a second. That was nasty. Lots of things could have gone wrong there, so I just ran away. Like a very, very brave boy. Alright. Yeah, the monkey thing. That's right, Rena. Right, 2 seconds. Let me try not... Oh, shit. Let me try not get teleported on whilst I'm reading Sean's question. I think that's more to do with your technique. I mean, I wouldn't have... If you are getting curves on arrows, are you sure you are not using locomotion whilst you are firing them? That will definitely curve your arrows. And you can actually use that and accommodate for it. You can't, like, wanted-style arrows round corners. I mean, you can do a better job than Divine Sight will ever do. But are you sure you're not using locomotion? I can probably demonstrate that. If I'm using locomotion and fire the arrow, that arrow has a right curve. If I'm moving left, that arrow has a left curve. I'm firing those arrows straight, as you can see. So if I'm firing at that pillar, and then move, You should see a slight curve in those. Then if you are stock still, then I would have said that's going to be one of two things: recenter, or it's just part of your technique and you'll have to compensate for it. If it's worked its way into your game at this point now, you're probably not going to be able to get it out of it. It could just as well, because you said your controllers were on the way out as well, mate. That it could be that. Your tracking in your old controller, because I know mine are old as well, your tracking in your controller could be canted slightly off and there's nothing that you can do to correct it. So when you get new controllers, you might not be able to hit anything, or might become a bloody bow and arrow genius, who knows. Alright, let's get back from there, because I can't see where they're coming in from. That was risky. That's also risky, and we go. And we go. Oh, hello. It's a possibility. I can't say I've had any weirdness from there. One of the things I did find, and I'm just going off of tracking here, because the Quest 2 control pads were obviously better than Quest 1 controllers. One of the things that I found when, back in the day, shock horror, before I used to play IDU as extensively as I did, I used to play a lot of Echo. And my throw used to be pretty good. In that I used to be able to make like half-court shots reasonably successfully. And I used to be able to at least throw the disc at the goal most of the time. And then I switched to the Quest 2 and it was like starting a new game again. So my point is, variations in tracking of various devices, be it purposeful because new or different, can cause a lot of things. I don't remember, because I never, thankfully as well, I might add, I never played... this would be way before my In Death Unchained days. I never played In Death Unchained on the Quest 1, because I remember looking at the graphics and going, nah, that game's not there yet. I was unaccustomed to the whole looking through a game in a live stream and then the difference between how a good game looks in person. So now I'm obviously well aware of that. So it would be different. Let's get you guys. So I haven't talked about order of march as far as... Oh, hello. Oh, just itching my eye. Can I have a break? I hate not having slow time. I miss my crutch. Can't... So, oh, hey, Nob, how's that whole losing life thing going, eh? What did you say? Did you say cycle 1 or did you say Purg? Can't remember. I think it was Purg. So, clip that. Here it comes. So, I haven't talked about order of march because I think it's quite obvious that you go for cupids first, you go for witches, I'd go for archers second, and then you would go for banshees sort of third, and then everything else last, so melee enemies. The reason why I would say banshees aren't quite as threatening as archers is just because of the speed. I know they fire 3 shots, but they'll only ever hit you once because of how the Grace of God effect works on your character when you take a hit. Don't be down there. I hate it when she's down there, especially in Purist. So let's approach this from a different angle. Yes, defanging is a good idea. It's very difficult to defang Paradise Lost because to put yourself in a defangable position... That was risky. To put yourself into a defangable position, you have to expose yourself onto rooftops and such, and that's when they get you, and that's when they get you in swarms. So... yeah, banshees are one of the ones that you need to worry about least, because again, one of the beauties of this mode is like banshees can fucking end you in the main game. If you're on, 4 skulls and take a full volley from a Banshee, you can go from 12 life to dead in that entire volley, and that you don't get much grace between the hits. You can take multiple hits from them. The beauty of the fact that when you take a hit from a Banshee in this, the grace of God goes off, is that it actually fires a localized unholy wind off of you, which destroys arrows, magic. It basically would destroy the other Banshee. Oh, didn't even see it coming. Would destroy the other Banshee magic that is heading towards you, the other 2 plasma orbs, so to speak, because of the unholy wind effect. So then you want to be going after archers primarily. You can't, I suppose the easiest way to differentiate between a Banshee shot and an archer shot is it's very difficult to outrun an arrow. At the earlier cycles, you can definitely outrun plasma. Silver Tongue Devil 2023. Don't try and outrun those arrows, kids. It's silly. All right. Still got all that nastiness down there to deal with, but I want to deal with some of these first and clear a bit more of a safe space. I mean, you're just weird, Sean. I'm like everybody else. I hate Paradise Lost. It's a lovely level. It's great. I love the changes that it brings, but it's bastard in hard. It really is. Right. Start getting... I mean, it depends on why. It's probably my favourite level to look at. It's brilliant. The geometry, the towers, the lure, the music, everything. Just not Cupids, please. It is a nice sound. It is a nice sound. Nah, fuck them Cupids. I think it's one of the things that I hate about this level is how Cupids can like blend in at those distances. Really annoying. Like those 2 there, I couldn't even see them until I'm looking at them. And they're moving. They've got moving parts. And it's a black floor, for Christ's sake. Or 50% black floor, anyway. But yeah, they hide. Real nice. I looked at it and I was like, did someone say Tempest when I first got to this level? And I continued to use Tempest and call it as one of the best arrows in the game until it really wasn't and had to go. But again, this is why I always say that, and it will seem like a strange thought to most players that are just playing. They will think that Tempest is one of the best things since sliced bread. That was a great shot. Because, that was another great shot. Can he make it 3 for 3? Can he? Bollocks. Oh, 3 for 3. Can he make it 4 for 4? No. So yeah, Tempest is a great arrow because it basically stops you having to do a lot of work. But then so does Spiritual Assist. But we don't want to waste the 1 amulet slot that we have to save us doing a little bit of work, i.e. pulling the arrow back a little bit further. Likewise, we don't want to be taking an arrow to do the work for us. But that's not to say, because again, me and Sean had this conversation, should I not use Tempest then, knowing that I'm going to bin it off? I know, right? You need to go through the journey of the Tempest, you little bastard. I was talking. You need to go through the journey of the Tempest to be able to appreciate how good an arrow it is, how good it can make you at this level, and how familiar you can become with dealing with Cupids and doing various bits and pieces, so that you can then almost remove them as the training wheels and stop being lazy. Because there becomes a point where you're like, hang on a second, me using Tempests, there's better arrows, this is just being lazy. And you're not wrong. Very risky, don't do that. Ooh. think I know where that is, and that is a hard one. Right, let's try... Yeah. Tempest is the way that I learned how to do Gabriel well. Yep. I think, if I'm right, she's somewhere that she doesn't usually spawn. Probably one of the worst. But yeah, Tempest is a great arrow. And unfortunately, if anyone is like, oh yeah, I can never see myself getting rid of Tempest, you will. Oh, no, you can use Tempest on Gabe. I used to use Tempest on Gabe to clear him. It makes him so easy. I've got a video. You can literally down Gabe in Gabe cycle 1 through to about 4 with a quiver's worth. If you use Tempest on Gabe, I mean, I know. See, right? Okay, let me quantify that with. Yeah. No, that's fine. They're not easy. They're not easy. There you go. Yeah, getting the headshots. The reason why it's not easy to get headshots on Gabe with Tempest is because it feels counterproductive. You have to aim off what feels like too much. And if you are moving at the time, that adds to the problem as well. But let me quantify the whole, why would you use Tempest on Gabe? This was before the time that I found out about this whole, or came to work in this strategy of moving round the pillar, left and right. And how he works exactly and luring him. I didn't find the pillar thing out. I just refined the strategy a little. Where is she? She's over there, I think. That's better than where I thought she was. Right, let's go. I think she's over there. I reckon don't want to bank on her being there and she not being there. Right, let's do something stupid, shall we? Let's say that she's up there and start taking some extremely long-range shots. Oh, what a headshot. That was complete luck. To be fair, it'd probably be the first person. Oh, Jesus Christ! To the chat. Oh, that was silly of me. Almost took a life then. Right. You're not going to come in, are you? Are you? Yes, you are. Lovely. Right, so I'm trying to clear a bit of the area here by wanging some arrows over. She's up on that other level, so I think I am fine to do that. I want to clear the density of this area a little bit because there's a lot of enemies here that will fire up at me whilst I'm trying to clear other bits out. Now what I'm going to try and do is clear this. Come on, tracking. Clear this bit out. Can we make that? No. Don't want to skip across. I want to do it from here. Where are we? There we are. I know, right? She's in. Well, you say that, but I almost got tagged. Now, she wasn't where I expected. It's all gravy, because we can just sit her there and put headshots in her, which is fine. Even if I wasn't hitting the headshots, I could have tagged her multiple times and stopped her leaving. And even if I was missing the body shots, I could have teleported there and that would have stopped her as well. So, yeah, sorry, that was a bit panic on because she wasn't where I expected. Because it's one of the things that I haven't talked about is I haven't ruined, because the spatial awareness on this game is usually pretty good, but one of the things that I've done is I've adjusted the audio that I hear so it isn't quite as directional as it should be, so that you guys don't hear it bleeding through on the mic, because you don't want to hear sound effects twice. You can probably sometimes hear the clacking of my buttons. So I'm usually quite... it's a small target, Sean. It's a small target with a very small hitbox is the problem. And then there is also that acute terminology, that acute condition that we all know as orphan panic. I experienced a little bit of it there. Because it's like, shit, she's not where I thought she was. Shit, things are going to try and hit me. I had to block a knight. That's risky. That'll lose your life. I then had to advance in and start making shots that I didn't really want to be making. Then I had to kill the banshees, all whilst there's a possibility that she's going to fuck off. That's pressure that I don't need to be putting on myself in a game where you've only got bloody 13 points of life. So, right. Let's have Archer. Lovely. Now, if I'm right, banshees can't cast down at you. Well, it's usually Rob and chat. Rob just opening his mouth leads to loss of concentration. Has been in the past, anyway. So, there's a knight across there, and I was waiting for you. The other problem that you can have with Cupids, especially headshots at close range, is a lot of the time you won't get them, and that's because as they go to line their arrow up on you, they present almost a new hitbox that covers a portion of their head. The best time to headshot a Cupid is when it teleports in before it strings up. But that then involves having to be very quick to aim for the headshot, which then usually means you miss it. And if you wait anything past that, you then run the risk of taking an arrow to the face. So these are all very real. First afterworld problems. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. No, well, I don't know. Again, I don't know. You guys will have to tell me. I don't think this is entertaining IDU play, but I suppose if I keep talking, someone might learn something, and so someone might say that it's entertaining. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little bit better at being patient with the game. It's I think it's my big failing within IDU. I know it's Beanie's a massive one. Oh, hit incoming as well, now that you've said this, Sean. It's one of my failings, and I know one of Beanie's is like, and we've both analysed this as well, it's like, why? Why do we get, like, we'll be doing slow and cautious and, you know, doing really well, and then all of a sudden you get hit and then you fucking bin it off and yeah, but no fun, Sean. Oh, that was a headshot. It's not too bad. But, yeah, me and Beanie were analysing this, and it's just down to the... I think I've coined it better, is that I consider myself an infinitely patient person. Please don't test me. And I shouldn't make statements like that, really. But I consider myself a very patient person. Yet, in games, not so much. And that's because games are like a way of escapism. And so, you don't... You know, if I want to play a game and lose myself within it, well, then I'm not going to be the same person that I am outside the world. And so my patience goes out the window. But maybe I'm actually learning that a little bit of patience will serve me in good stead. Ah! Don't go through the wall. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was incredibly manly on my part. I heard the creaking of the bow. I can't see the enemy, so I'm going to move. There you are. That's the time to hit them in the head, and they are complete spread. Bonus headshot for the points. I went in the staff. Told you to take the Banshee staff. I'm used to having to do that as well. It's worthwhile doing. Again, LG will tell you, because we've both... I know he's had this worse than I ever had. Banshee's firing through things, mainly up. I know LG's been close to losing a very far, or possibly did lose a very far run, because a Banshee ended up teleporting and falling off the level, firing the fireballs up at him as it was falling, and those coming up through the floor and doing an unsightly amount of damage to him. So... we know that shields can block plasma bolts, so you might as well throw it up. That was a great shot. Thank you. I don't want compliments from you guys as to when the good shots are, and neither should you. You do your own. When you make good shots, congratulate yourself. When you're making piss poor shots, tell yourself. I find it affects my game. Maybe it'll affect yours too. And yes, Harry is doing well. I've seen him questioning what skulls mean at higher ranks. Bless him. He doesn't understand the game, even though he's the best at the side game. Cupids that are below you are usually easier to at least get the headshots on. That's one thing that I do find. But again, that's because of the angle of the hitboxes. Paradise Lost done. What you saying now, Knob? No parades. Is there any? Oh, okay. No, I was talking about Harry, because I think he's been making some moves. I saw him asking questions as to what the skulls mean in the Facebook group the other day, and I was like, bless, he doesn't even know anything about the game. Talking about the top player in the world on Siege of Heaven. Very good. Right. Gabe done. I want no life loss. No questions asked. We're going to push him we're going to push him off the level, and we're going to do it in the regular way. It's a bit risky, but the headshot scoring's probably worth it. I was trying to have a quick smoke. Damn it. Right, off you go, lad. Off you go. See if we can kill him quick. Get to the next level. Alright. Stay here, shields up, right in tight to the pillar. Don't get hit, wait for you to come in. No, that's not the attack that we were looking for. Again, other side of pillar, shield up. We'll bring him across this way. I know, right? All downhill from here. I don't know, there's been a couple of performances that I've been putting in on my live streams, and afterwards I've been like, you should be getting further than that. You shouldn't be dying at this stage. So I figure if I can put a good Purist, at least one, oh god! At least one, manly, at least one decent Purist live stream in. Happy days. No, but I want... Okay, I'll explain why I want him to. To be fair, it might be a better tactic here. The problem that I find if you stay on one side of the pillar is when you are covering yourself from him, he creeps a little bit further over. When you come out to engage him, attack, you then come back in and stay on this same side of the pillar. After he finishes attacking you, sheltering from it, he creeps a little bit further. It's that creep, I promise you now, at later cycles, with him creeping further and further and further over on one side, he will get behind that pillar, and then before you know it, he's over here, and then he's in the centre, and he's diving, and there's Cupids and Banshees, and you're dead. And I guarantee it, and it'll happen to you at later cycles, which is why I developed that. Nice one, Mags. No worries, Matt. Thanks for joining in. Oh, can I make the shot just before Meg goes? She'll love this. Yes, first time! That's the shot. That is the shot. But yeah, that's like, as I've spoken to you about, Sean, the reason why I started looking into how Gabe worked exactly is Tiff was struggling with Gabe with that very thing of her not being able to control. I've made it loads of times. I've never made it first time, though. That was quite impressive. Might clip that. No one can see it, though, because it's a bloody gold arrow in white. So, yeah, it's part of the reason why I started looking into the old Gabe tactics, because our own Tiff was struggling with Gabe at later cycles. And so I started looking into it, and it was about the same time that she ended up... Oh, you bastard. Tracking went then. I don't know. I don't know about that, actually. I saw some weird timestamps from him the other day, I'm sure, on something. Or it might have just been when he sent it. I think he's still here. Why is my tracking dying now? Stop. Am I in a bad position? Oh, yeah. That'll be why. But yeah, it's part of the reason why I started doing what I was doing with Gabe, because I know young Tiff was struggling, and I wanted to work out exactly... Come on. Wanted to work out exactly how he worked anyway. But yeah, if you don't do that side-to-side pillar thing, there is the possibility that he will keep on doing the fireballs, keep on being scooted a little bit further to the right and a little bit further to the right, and all of a sudden it's game over because he's doing sweeps down on you and such. Oh yeah, good shout, Sean. Can't be too far off. Oh, 22%. Good call. Well, doesn't look like whatever it was that I tried to do made any difference whatsoever. That's a bit of a shit, because I haven't got enough battery, I don't think, to continue playing this level. Should we go fast? No, I'm exercising patience tonight. All the way. All the way. That's a bad shot to make. Did I get these ones? I can't remember. Yeah, I did. No, patience. Keep those patience going, roll high. Ooh, secret red knight. Okay, there you go then. Confirmed. Secret red knights on all levels. No, I'd be silly not to. I've invested quite a lot of time in this and I haven't been hit yet. But then, as we all know, a Purist run is going amazingly, like this one is, until it's fucking not. Now, as soon as I hit 15%, I'll make a beeline. That was silly. That was very silly. Oh, very silly. So, what that was there, chat, is a good example of how to run away. Oh dear. Don't get hit. That was risky. Yeah, I think it's time to come off now. Oh no! Teleporting Cupid. Tracking goes. Had to say it. Had to say it. Right, let's clear this area. I'm going to make a path to the thing. Ugh, still loads down here. Going to make a path to the shop and then get out. If the Cupid is here on the way, I will skip past her and... Oh, I might put a shot in her. So this is another thing. I'm not going to have a chance to discuss it too much on here. It's easier to do on Abyss than it is on a lot of other levels because of the fact that the Cupid is usually in quite open areas. Is that, you know, we were talking about doing bites of the Cupid's health in Fletcher. You can kind of do it in this mode too. But you do it from a long range, hoping to score some damage, and then retreating far enough away that she despawns. So hopefully she's not in there, because that will be a tough ask. But it would be a great example. Possibly how not to do it. Ah, and the pits on the bloody bug. Alright. So, defanging, as I have been... Oh god, that was a bad shout. Oh, look at those arrows. Look at this guy. Keen? Yeah, it's starting to go bad now. It really is. Let's say I'm getting tired, yeah? But then this is another... So this is potentially another thing as well. Maybe I play my sessions too long. Maybe I don't put enough... Maybe I don't... See, it's getting fucking risky now. Maybe I don't put enough onus on time off the game. So, right, we're at power low. Things are getting nasty. To be fair, I probably didn't have to block that low on that arrow. I don't think that would have hit the hitbox, but it's that sort of thinking that loses you bloody armour. So, right, well, we've defanged that bit, so that's good. Yep. Always the way. Right, let's go across that way. Let's go that way. Let's go that way. And then someone can remind me next time we do this that I've got to go back for the pit. And I don't think the Orphan was there. But let's get the hell out of here anyway. Because otherwise... could get my patented gasp. If I ever do much, I'm going to have that gasp on a t-shirt. Rest in Sanctuary. Silver-tongued Devil. We can put that into words, right? We can put that into letters. So, Purist. We didn't get very far, because you're never going to if you're playing Purist correctly. It's slow. It's methodical, it's tedious. And on that bombshell, let's end it there. I have been Silver-tongued Devil. Thank you all very much for your time. Good night.